Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Hey Queen session. Today we are speaking to Romy. She is wow, such a powerhouse. We just had a phone call with her, and she does so many things. She's been the Taekwondo champion for South Africa 4 times, and for Africa twice. She's also an international singer. She's been signed with EMI Records. She does a lot of healing. She does health qigong, meditation, sound healing, so many incredible things. And today we want to be speaking about sovereignty and success and how you hold your authenticity and your truth through success and through the journey of success. I'm so excited to share her journey to sovereignty with you guys. And thank you to everyone who's joined. So I'm going to bring Claire on and, and then we'll get going. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. Oh, so many friendly faces. Hi. Amazing. Hey, Queens!
Hello.
Hi. Hi. Okay, we'll just wait for her to come in. Hello, everybody who's joined. I'm so excited for the session.
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting. We were just on a call with Romy and she was saying how there's so much opportunity here in South Africa. It's just a matter of being able to identify it and tap into it and lots of creative potential, and how she herself used to be a crazy creative, but she really found how martial arts helped her to hone in and find a structure in that, which also leads to how important an embodiment practice is for creators such as ourselves, and to find and access that strength in our inner power from a very visceral, tangible, embodied way.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I'm so moved by these ancient Eastern practices and martial arts and how it can offer so much insight into the body and the mind and the spirit. Beyond yoga, because I think yoga is really commercialized and been pushed in the Western world, but there's so much out there available to us. I know I did several years of kung fu as a child, and I think it like really set me up for an understanding of my body and of energies and moving with them with awareness. And Claire, you mentioned that you've also done martial arts before.
Yes, I did 3 years of Shaolin Gong Fu. So the traditional way to say Kung Fu is Gong Fu. And interestingly, also with Qigong, Qigong is actually spelled with a Q. It's a Q-U-I instead of a C-H-I. But now we have Romy with us.
Hi.
So welcome back into the space. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's so special.
Romy, you did a beautiful embodiment practice with us just before we joined this live, and I would love for you to share that with the audience that's watching now and also who are watching the recording. We can do a little landing.
Yes, absolutely. So before I start any kind of ceremony or seminar or workshop, I have to calm myself down. And often I feel that my waters are like all over the place. So the first thing that I'm going to sit down and imagine that all my facial muscles are softening and all the water is softening. Now, close your eyes. I'm going to play my beautiful singing bowl. Just to reset the vibration. And what I want you to do is inhale with your nose and breathe out. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in with your nose. Feel the expansion of your organs. And hold it. 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. Hold it once more. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in with your nose. And now make a lip thrill. We are being so silent every day, and these masks are not helping either. So breathe in with your nose and let it go. Very good. Very good, Claire. So now we're gonna hum. I just want you to identify yourself with your sound and say, this is me. Give it a try. That's it. This is the way we should look at life, okay? Life is yummy, okay? Gently open your eyes. And I'm going to just play a little bit more on the mat, on the beautiful singing bowl. And the singing bowl represents connection. Because if I let this one go, it's going to make cracky sounds. So what I do is I play this, and then I see, how are my muscles doing? Am I tense anywhere? Maybe my hand is relaxed, but maybe my mind isn't. And just through this, just listening to the sound, I can hear the connection. It's just saying, Romy, this is how you are doing today. And I think I'm ready for this interview. I would love to do another one. It's the left brain and the right brain. Let's put our hands together in front. Then you're gonna swap them around, interlace, and then you're gonna fold it in. You're gonna like hug yourself a little bit, create a little safety zone. This is what I do when there's too much external influence on my well-being. Sometimes I feel that my creative side is overactive. And sometimes I feel that the rational side is overactive. And you know, that's such a nice metaphor to life. How much are you in service of the world? And how much are you in service of yourself? All right. Breathe in. All right. Now just let go and shake your fingers. Shake your shoulders. And shake your head. Yeah, because the lighter you are, the better you are, the better you can be in service, should we say. Yes. So,
yeah, I feel my energy moving much more than before. Thank you.
Such a pleasure. That's what it's all about.
Feel the radiance. I definitely feel the radiance, and I think it's such a beautiful way to enter into any situation. And I definitely feel that's how you are in the world, just taking you in. You know, you really step in with, you go all in with your radiance and whatever it is that you're coming to.
Yeah, you were talking about embodiment, and that's something that I'm really learning to experience. And yeah, they say there's a weird squeaky sound the whole time. Don't you know? You can hear me properly, yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly fine. There's no squeaky sound on our side, so
Perfect.
who knows?
Yeah. So full embodiment, full being in service in every little tiny action that you do in your daily life.
I love that. So, Romy, you have lived such a colorful life. You've done so many incredible things. And I would love for you to share with everyone who's listening a little bit about your journey into sovereignty and perhaps what sovereignty means to you as well.
Yes. Sovereignty means to have control, to take back your power, should we say. And when did that start? For me, it was like, I've had enough. I've had enough of the suffering. I've had enough of feeling lonely and disconnected, even though I was maybe successful in the eyes of others. So sovereignty definitely means taking back your power and feeling successful from within. Yeah. So, and like they say, from chaos to order. My upbringing and my teenage years and even my 20 years were quite chaotic. Yeah. I was creative, but there was no structure here, should we say. There was only expression, making music and writing songs, but I did not have my life in order. That means that the first thing that I didn't love myself enough. So what happens when you don't love yourself enough? You just get it externally, and you'll do anything. So you become more of a people pleaser, and you know there's nothing wrong with that, but it can become really unhealthy. And when I realized that my cycle was very unhealthy, I had to take back my power. And sometimes traumatic experiences have to happen in order for you to get a speed course. And sometimes you grow towards. Well, can you still hear me? I hate it. Can you still hear me? Okay. I lost my chain of thought. But so from chaos comes order, should we say. And then I had enough of it. So I was performing. I was in the studio by the age of 15 till 25. For 10 years, every day, writing songs, recording, understanding how sound production works, performing, learning instruments, learning how to perform, and that was already quite a lot. And you go to bed very late. You have to get up very early because once your album is out, you have to promote it, and you promote it on radio stations. So life becomes really, really unbalanced. But because you love it so much and you're full of adrenaline, you can just go, 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 go. Yeah, and I signed with EMI Records, so that is one of the biggest labels on the planet. Think Tina Turner, the Beatles. So that was really a cool experience, and it was my dream since childhood. I always knew that I wanted to be a singer, not for attention, but more because I wanted to inspire and bring change in the world. And that is still today. Yeah. And I'm still a warrior when it comes to fighting for good causes. Yeah. Definitely. So what else do I say? There's just so much to say. I have so many lives that have actually shaped me to the person that I am today. Am I proud? Would I wish anyone else what I've been through? No. But I would love to share information so that people don't really have to suffer, and we can learn from each other. We need to share knowledge. Yeah, so that we can, as a what is the word? Collective grow, you know. Yeah, so and that I met my husband, and he's a master in ITF Taekwondo, and yeah, he taught me a lot. I mean, it would be stupid not to learn Taekwondo from your husband if he's a teacher, right? So, and I didn't really stop singing, but I started also 10 years ago. I've helped a lot of students improve their voice, becoming an artist, or create a business out of their passion, should we say. And and then I started Taekwondo. And I realized there was just so much to to share, you know, and people can improve their lives with some of my guidance. And through my trial and error, should we say, I really found what worked for me. But it all starts with having enough of the bullshit, should we say. That I don't want it anymore. I don't want any drama. I just want to live a peaceful life with purpose. And once that kicks in, and yeah, then it really, life starts to change.
So did you feel like that was your catalyst moment? You had these thoughts around, you know, needing more structure or needing to love yourself more, and then sort of Taekwondo and your husband and this new modality came into your life?
Yes.
Mm.
I realized that I had confidence, but it was a bit fake confidence. Now I realize that where does confidence come from? It comes from preparation, 50%, should we say. And how do you prepare? Loving yourself. By doing all these little rituals in your daily life, like learning to say no and learning to spend your time well, be selective with people and everything that you consume, words, thoughts, people, food, yeah, hobbies. So yeah, all these things make me realize that, like, okay, life is short and I really need to spend it well. And I want to help a lot of people at the same time, but I can't do it physically. I first have to help myself. And hopefully in that way, I can be a guiding light or an inspiration to others, or maybe even an inspiration to how one does not want it. I also have some friends that always say, oh, you're a great inspiration, especially how not to do things. And then we laugh, you know? Then I'm just happy that I was the one that could have that trial and error to help another person in their life. So.
I love that idea of in self-development work of having a growth mindset always, that you're never complete, you're never there. It's always like we're always learning and growing, and yeah, to be able to be like to laugh at your mistakes and not, I don't know, I feel like we take ourselves so seriously sometimes. Be able to be like, oh, okay, that was a way not to do things, and laugh about it is really, it's testament to your growth mindset, and that you're like, every time, trial and error, like you said, every time I make a mistake, I'm learning, I'm growing. Just, yeah, I think so pivotal to a healing journey and a transformation journey.
So much, because all those years in my younger years, I just wanted to be perfect all the time. Like I wouldn't leave the house without mascara and high heels, or not having my hair straightened. Okay, today I did straighten my hair, but it's not an important thing anymore, you know? It's really like, how do I feel from the inside? I mean, I can put a garbage bag and I will still look beautiful if I feel nice, you know? So you really put that back into yourself, and then everything else will collaborate, will work with you. And that's what I'm also learning in martial arts. You know, you get attacked, and how do you respond? Are you going to freeze, you know, or are you going to work with it, or are you going to protect it? Are you going to block it? Everything is a choice, and every decision and every move, every action that you do says a lot about you, you know. And the world is your oyster. You can also take the punch. You know, that's how I feel in martial arts. Sometimes I feel like I want to block it, sometimes I want to dodge it, and that's just like life. You know, you don't always have to respond to everything and everyone. Just
So Romy, I've got a few questions that I'm going to roll into one,
yes.
and then I'm going to let you run with it. Okay.
Yes.
So also going on one of the questions that have been asked in our chats. So with regards to creativity needs a kind of structure, right? To work it and shape it. But also in that, there's kind of like for a lot of creatives, there's a resistance to the discipline. There's almost like, you know, you have this way of control, but then there also needs to be a kind of release in that you are enjoying it. There is passion, there is flow. So speaking to a creative who is all over the place and is all in for structure, but the discipline would actually just drive them mad, they'll let it all go in any case, how do you actually hone that energy in to the point that you can then direct it at a lot of the creative opportunities that we're seeing here in South Africa or globally in the world? So how do you hone it towards that? And how do you identify them as a creative today that's really, really full of potential, and all they need to do is hone that in and shoot towards the right thing? Like, as you know, when you're in that creative space, just formulating yourself, it is so difficult. It's a hot mess, really.
Yeah. Well, my advice is less is more.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I realized that I was like, what is that saying again? Smoke. That, let's say if you could see air, it goes everywhere, right? And it's the same thing with singing. The air is just going everywhere. Now imagine if you could take all that air and just put it into one aimer. Then you have concentrated energy, which is much more powerful than just being like a butterfly and just expressing oneself. And I'm not judging any because a person who wants to be successful needs to have that balance. And that's with everything in life. Balance between soft and hard. Balance between creative and business. Am I saying the right thing? Yeah, because creative people are usually not so good at business. I had to learn that too. Yeah. And business, and something else, life goes in pairs. Like you need a man and a woman to make a child, should we say. I also believe that a lot of things go in pairs. You can't do everything yourself. And therefore, you need to know what your traits are and your qualities, so that you know how to communicate your expectations and what you need from others. And, yeah, so that is another very key important. So I guess we're coming back to balance, yin and yang. Both are equally important. I never like to say that the looks are important for a singer, for instance. But actually, partly it is. It's not how you look, but it is how you present yourself. Like I chose to wear white right now because I want to be pure in what I say and innocent actually as well. It's just representing, So if you can look at life that way, then everything will have a meaning and value.
Intentionality. I love it. Back to the intentionality, which also when we were speaking with Gavin last week, he was referring to sovereignty as the warrior monk, and again brought in the quality of intentionality, how it actually reinforces you and reinforces your power and reinforces what your gift is and your calling is, and bringing it out to the world and essentially making the world a better place.
Exactly. And it's just not only with my singing, but also my Taekwondo students. They are not just doing the discipline, they are actually becoming good people that bring change in the world. And big change. Now, even the youngsters, they are 14 years old and they are designing drones, anti-poaching drones. What is that stuff called? It's carbon free. That's one of our students, or two students of mine, Taekwondo. So what I'm trying to say is that when you find a discipline that you're passionate about, you don't have to look for anything else externally, You can really dive deep into yourself and find that thing, whatever it is for you. It is so amazing that we are all born with a gift. I was born with the gift of voice, but it was taken away from me because when I grew up, there were people that made me believe that I was using my voice for the wrong reasons. And that actually made me believe that I was never good enough, Yeah, until I actually proved everyone wrong when they pressed the remotes and all of a sudden I was on TV. Like, oh, she made it. Oh my God. Just by not listening and just taking everyone's critics, you listen to it, but then you got to focus. Yeah. Focus on and make everything light. It's the same thing with singing. Do not think too much, because every thought has a frequency and a weight. And then the voice becomes heavy, and it just becomes more difficult to use it. And Taekwondo the same. If I'm emotionally stuck, I can't do Taekwondo. My body just doesn't want to go. So all these things go one and one. Yeah, they have to go hand in hand together. Yeah. If you have
if you're not feeling connected to yourself, then what are the aspects in yourself that you connect to hone in, that you were able to be successful in your music career and successful in your martial arts career? And also what's interesting is that they are symbiotic. It's like you have two running channels, but luckily those two running channels are actually symbiotic. So you can have more than one channel, but it needs to be symbiotic, and you need to hone in and tap into certain aspects within you. You need to revisit parts of yourself that are clear. You have clear channels to those parts of yourselves for that to open up and for you to run. So I'd like to ask you, how do you identify not being connected to yourself, and what are those parts within you that you access in order to have that open channel?
It took a while to recognize it, because I've actually been feeling uncomfortable within my body my whole life until something happens, right? How do you recognize it? I recognize it in the sound of my voice. Everything has vibration. I can actually look at my skin and I see myself shake. So then I know my soul, my body is there. How do you say this? My soul, for those who believe in soul, is not at ease within my body. And then I know I have to meditate. Now, I practice Health Qigong, and that is based on TCM, which is the 12 meridians. So there are specific poses that you can do to actually calm down your nervous system. But we have 10 bodies. Sometimes it's not your nervous system. Sometimes it's your nervous system responding because there's an underlying problem. Or sometimes it's the other way around. So, like in my case, it's every day different. Sometimes I get too affected by external factors, and then I have to sort myself out. Instead of pointing fingers at others, you have to change for me. No. I realize something is triggered, and then I'm like, okay, there's some work to do there. And you know what? If you really listen to yourself, your inner voice will actually tell you what to do and where to go. The trick is to tap on it, to learn to listen to it, and to learn also to translate it. Like I had appendicitis and I didn't know, because I never learned to listen to my body. So what happened? I had to go to the hospital, and there was an emergency operation, and I nearly lost my life. Now, if I just would have listened to myself, there's a pain, go to the doctor. You can't fix everything yourself. That's what my body was trying to tell me that. And I completely ignored it. So that is a blessing in disguise. That now, next time when something happens, I'm like, oh. I know exactly what to do. With people, with food, anything that I'm consuming right now, I already feel it. Okay. And then you can prepare for it. If I know I have a very hectic training session for Taekwondo, I take that hour to lay flat. Not everyone can afford that, but I just make sure that I do it. Otherwise, I will not be able to cope in the evening. So this is all part of self-love, and everything that comes up, your intuition is guiding you. It is intuition means inner tutor.
I love that.
Yeah, every time when I say that, it's my inner tutor. So don't doubt it. Give it a chance. Yeah, so all these things will help you to get back on track, and there are so many tools. Any type of discipline that you choose, arts, or even like cooking or whatever, you can find it. If that is what helps you to ground yourself, do it. But it takes practice. You can't just try it once and say, oh, sorry, but that didn't work out for me. Some things need a little bit more time and more preparation. But on the other hand, if your soul is saying, not for me, then you also need to listen to that. So that's, again, you need to balance it out. But usually when something doesn't vibrate with you or resonate, it is a warning sign. Yeah. And I can actually say that now because it's how I found my husband, the love of my life. And I did not believe in fairy tales. Yeah. Just trust that intuition, really.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Romy, if you could touch a little bit on what intuition feels like and how it shows up for you, because we had a question in one of our last talks where someone was talking about how do you know if it's intuition or if it's anxiety or if it's overthinking, and I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit about your experience of intuition.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just want to add to that question of, do you identify it as a feeling of peace, or do you like how do you identify that feeling so that we can relate to it?
Yeah, that's a good one. So it definitely takes practice and recognition. And once you recognize that feeling or that good experience, you got to memorize that. So that every time when something happens, you can find it, you can channel it back. Your inner tuition. Just say to yourself, my inner tutor, what is this voice telling me? Is it making me better? Or is it trying to make me feel worse? That's something that I had to learn because I was sabotaging myself for many years. Trying to justify things for others and all that stuff. So the inner tutor, listen to that. Secondly, yes, follow the path of joy. You will know the difference when it's an illusion or when it's joy, real joy, because those two have different vibrations. And what else? How do you know it's your intuition? Just try. Sometimes you just need to have that conversation, and then you just ask yourself, wait, God, are you talking to me right now? Oh, but it's not a male voice. You're not even speaking English, you know? And then it's like, what is this information? Am I now downloading information? And it's just wisdom coming in because you're channeling, you're opening up. You give your inner tuition a chance to be heard. You don't have to believe everything. Also, you just have to allow the information to come in, and then it's up to you and how you process it. That's how I believe it. It just takes a lot of practice because I also you can say a lot to yourself and believe it afterwards. Yeah. But that's also something that I told my husband. I said, okay, the next rule that I'm gonna live by in 2021 is I'm gonna live in truth. My husband is like, okay, well, isn't that what you've always done? And then actually I didn't know myself enough. And then all my husband said is, oh, I can't wait to meet her. You have to give yourself a chance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you also need to have the right people around you that say, wait a second, you have the right to evolve and to change. So all these things are very important. Yeah.
The question that your husband asked you, I think it just clicked, and I'm like, wow, it's such a beautiful, well, the statement of, I can't wait to meet her, that's such a beautiful, juicy thing to say to yourself. I'm just thinking about how we get really wrapped up in an idea of success and in who we think we want to be, or who in perceptions and in ego and in what I was talking about earlier in terms of growth mindset, in terms of like being afraid to make mistakes, being afraid to put ourselves out there, being afraid to be seen, and worrying that we're not worthy. You were speaking about that, and how to have this narrative of I can't wait to meet myself every day. Like who is Paige going to be today? Who's Romy? Who's Claire going to be today? Who is she going to be tomorrow? And to have that like curiosity and that compassion and love for meeting ourselves every day, I think is such a beautiful way to bring that mindfulness that you're talking about, that you need to like tune into your intuition. To have that curiosity is kind of a beautiful way to tune into that intuition.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's what it's all about, I think, eventually. Yeah. And that we as sisters help each other, share that knowledge, talk about it with your family members and your friends. You know, there's a lot of things that are not spoken about. But to me, right now, it's common sense, and it's all I want to talk about for the rest of my life. You know, especially the young girls that are 14 right now, they need this the most, so that they can start training it at a very early age.
Yeah.
And Romy, you were saying how there are a lot of opportunities in South Africa for creatives. It's just a matter of being able to identify them. Can you speak a little bit more about that for our listeners?
Well, the world is your oyster at the moment with the digital possibility. So we gotta really let go of all our old beliefs. And I think COVID has really done that for me. That you just reset yourself and you just go back to basic and say, okay, what do I want? And then you'll see, oh, I just want to, you'll see baby steps will come. You'll know what to do. But go make it small. Go back to the source. And then you'll see your primary needs. And yeah, just go back to the source. And then, yeah, you will be guided by your inner tuition.
I love it. You've shared so many principles with us just on intentionality and listen to your intuition and no bullshit and go back to the source and self-care. Take that hour if you need to, but have intentionality with it. Don't just be all kind of like dear macaw about it, which is it's beautiful. And just being conscious of time. I just want to know what is really alive in you right now. Like, what is a message that you are wanting to get out there? If there's anything that you could have a platform to talk about and to say, like what's really moving through you right now as your wisdom, as your download.
Put the work in yourself. See yourself as a project. Create yourself. And like my husband says, indeed, I can't wait to meet her. Say that to yourself every day. Be that person that you look up to. Be that person that you want to fall in love with. Never mind other people, you know? So yeah, that's what I'm feeling very strongly. Like I have got goals with Taekwondo. I want to do the kick perfectly. Yeah. It's going to take some time, you know. Yeah.
And that's beautiful because it does link into sovereignty and it does link into self-love. So Roms, how would you differentiate? Is there a differentiation between someone who's like, I love myself enough that I'm going to put this energy into myself, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to choose myself first, and then the other side of that of being maybe like instead of mindfulness being mindlessness, you know, maybe hurting others or being self-centered or essentially narcissistic, for lack of a better word. Like, how would you kind of find the balance in that?
Well, me as a big empath, I've attracted a lot of narcissists in my life. And then I realized why I was attracting them. So, and then I said, you know what, maybe I should also be a little bit narcissistic, but I couldn't. I tried. Let me also talk about myself all the time and take up the space. But I just realized that sometimes you don't even have to make another person aware of them. You just go back into your own space. And if you're comfortable within your body, a narcissist doesn't even have to affect you emotionally. You know, that is already comes back to self-love. You know, I love myself now enough that I can handle all the narcissists. Yeah. And then the quieter you are, the better actually. Because if you give another the same, then you have an eye for an eye, and then it just doesn't work. But the only problem is that you can't adjust too much, because that means that you are working around another, and that's also not really who you are. So, but yeah, and then I look at the rose that grew out of concrete. You know, we will grow, we will manifest as long as we live. That's the rule of the planet. It's the planet of manifestation. So if we know all of that, then we have to work with that, right?
Yes.
I love that. And if you really are listening to your true voice within, then you're not really in danger of being self-absorbed because that's not the nature from where you're coming from, and you can trust in that, and you can have faith in it.
I must admit, it took me 40 years to get there. That's why I want to share for the young girls, you know. Yeah, it's okay to give a person space, but don't forget who you are, and acknowledge and honor your feelings. You don't have to express them to others, but as long as you honor it yourself, that's so important.
I love that image of, you know, that you were speaking earlier about, that like fake confidence versus this real confidence that you have in yourself in these moments where you're in spaces where you may be triggered, or there's people around you, or you're engaging in different things. That clear difference between reacting and responding. And if I'm reacting, it's often from that place of ego or narcissism, or like worrying about what people think about me, worrying about how my image is, how I'm being perceived, versus holding myself and being able to go, okay, I'm feeling these things, and how am I responding? How am I choosing to be in this moment? That for me really is that differentiator.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we are filters and we're consuming all the time. And especially when you're an empath, you consume way more than you think. And narcissists don't really have that problem. They have other lessons.
Yeah, I can also speak to self-confidence in my own experience, where I thought I was pretty self-confident because I would go out and I'd be social. And I mean, I'm one of those people who's more of an introvert, but when I go out, I'm extremely extravagant and I'm very much a social butterfly, and I can talk to pretty much anyone. So I assumed I was pretty self-confident. But when it actually came to the spotlight being on me and me being seen, and me showing up in the space in my true authenticity, that was a huge journey for me. That was a big walk through the fire when I started having to facilitate and hold space and hold vulnerable spaces. That was like, I remember the first time I taught a yoga class, like I was actually shaking. And I was trying to tell everyone else to breathe, but I couldn't breathe myself. And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, this whole time I thought I was so confident. But now all of a sudden I'm in my vulnerable space, I'm in my safe space, but I'm totally exposed and I'm in the spotlight. That was really me seeing, like, wow, like I'm actually terrified to take up space.
Yeah.
I'm terrified to shine. I'm terrified to be seen in my radiance and witnessed in my radiance and received in my radiance.
That you need more practice of that too.
Yeah, loads.
Yeah, your system is actually responding and saying, hey, I'm not used to this. Can you just help me condition me a little bit more in future? You know? And then you'll see that your whole nervous system will collaborate. But indeed, that's exactly where the work is. You feel triggered and you realize, oh my God, that's where the work is.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so now I'm more in the practice of just diving in.
Yeah, I realized that I have a singing lesson to do.
Beautiful.
With you girls, but thank you so much for the opportunity, and I think this is very important. I hope you are continuing to do so and speaking with people that can share tools, methods, and experiences to just help other people. Great.
Thank you so much, Romy. Thank you for hopping on and sharing your wisdom and your insights.
Thank you.
Yeah, Romy, thank you so much for your energy and the beautiful work that you're doing. Just keep going, keep trailblazing, keep doing all of these beautiful things and inspiring others and plugging that energy right into the people around you. It's beautiful to watch and to be embraced by.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for putting me in the spotlight. Thank you.
Much more beautiful woman. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.